Guys, looks like things are live and ready to go. What's going on, everyone? And welcome to the Xbox Roundtable Podcast. This is episode number 168, your place on Sunday nights for primetime Xbox news and more from all around the game industry. I am your host, Invader, and we've got a lot of things to discuss and get into. Number one, of course, is Xbox recently reversing their decision to increase the price of Xbox Live Gold. Quite the interesting situation there. As well, we're going to go into further details about a Japanese developer really wanting to work with Xbox again, along with some unannounced games that seem to be, kind of hidden right now and waiting to be announced. So we got a lot on the docket tonight, but first, let me introduce everyone on the panel. And joining us tonight is the host of the We Bleed Green podcast. Please welcome Dirt Griggity. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Hey, man, what's going on? Thank you for the invite, man. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Welcome to have you aboard tonight. I cannot wait to hear your input on everything. I know you're really dialed in on all the topics that we got going in tonight, especially the first one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but no, that crew that you got there, as I was talking about before the show on We Bleed Green, you guys, I listen to you guys was it Monday night? You guys have a solid crew there.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. I truly appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Anytime, brother. All right, moving on to the TXR regulars. Time to do some intros, starting with Tim Dog. Hey, Tim Bud, how you doing, brother?
Doing great. Very happy that Griggity's here. He has one of the best podcasts going. We Bleed Green. Very fun and interactive podcast that you all should check out. And he's also a fine gentleman. Been friends with him for a while. He's a really good gamer, and really happy to have him on the podcast. And good week, because we were going to have a lot to talk about. So very happy that he's here, and let's get at it.
I love his
thumbnails.
They're always
thank you.
Yeah, I like when they do the Twitter stuff too. When they read the Twitter, I love that segment.
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, totally entertaining there, Dirt. All right, moving on down the list. My friend Eric Shockley, buddy. What's new and exciting?
Hey, what's up? Yeah, not much. I mean, other than, I guess, Microsoft made this podcast a little bit more, gave us a little more topics this week and not much else going on. But yeah, not much. Just, I just lost almost had a Fall Guys crown. It's, I'm probably never going to get one because there's so many tryhards now, but it's like it was down to the last three and it was so close. But yeah, just been casually laying back today, just playing some, easy games, nothing too hectic.
Right. Yeah, I haven't gotten into Fall Guys yet. I'm still waiting for it to kick into Xbox Game Pass whenever it drops. But I want to see what the Fall Guys crack is all about.
Oh yeah, there was that that Fall Guys coming to Game Pass tweet that. Then they were like, no, it's not coming.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Oh, still, eventually you watch. It'll be a control situation. It'll come in a few months. Yeah. Exactly. All right, and last but not least for tonight, Centurion, the Phoenix Sun. What's happening?
Oh, not much, man. It's just Sunday night. It's time for TXR, and I am ready to talk about games and other fun, positive stuff with some amazing guys.
Games? TXR? Really? Oh, I never would have thought that. Oh, thanks, buddy.
I did get at first confused. There was times I thought this was political, but no, I don't know.
Well, don't worry. I have to worry about that right now.
Yeah, that's bye-bye.
Yeah, right. All right, yeah, good stuff there, Centurion. Yeah, we definitely got lots of games related stuff to talk about. But before we get into things, just a reminder to everyone listening in that TXR is on many different audio platforms, such as iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and so many more. Definitely consider checking them out for your TXR on the go, fellas. I know everybody can't tune in live, or you guys are traveling somewhere and you want to get your TXR fix. So definitely consider any of those podcasting audio options down in the comment section below. Okay, fellas, we will move straight into our first topic, and I already kind of hinted at it. And this past Friday, Microsoft made, well, a lot of noise, you could say. They made a bit of an oopsie, and honestly, it was for all the wrong reasons. And in an Xbox Wire post, the Live team announced that the cost for Xbox Live would be increasing. Now, over the course of the same day, there was a massive amount of outrage towards this move, and a lot of it was from the consumers, but of course it made its way to different gaming outlets and so on. And later on in the day, Microsoft sent out an apology of sorts, stating that they messed up, and they reversed their decision to increase the price of Xbox Live Gold, which is, hey, it's great, right? I was certainly happy to see them quickly change their mind, but I'm curious to see what the other panel members think about this. Now, Dirt, I'll start off with you, buddy. I like to start off with the guest. What do you think about Xbox changing its position so quickly?
Well, I feel that because they did it so quickly, in my opinion, that meant that they saw all of the feedback. They saw all of the upset Xbox fans. They saw all of the PlayStation guys making fun of it. They saw the media. I really feel that they saw that, and they thought, "Oh my God, we don't want 2013 again." And I really, because the turnaround was so quick. It was so quick. It wasn't even the full 24 hours, was it? I mean, they just all of a sudden fixed it and said, "We're sorry." And say, you know what, those free-to-play games is actually free-to-play now. And I think that's exactly what happened, man. They just didn't want that bad pub because they have a little momentum. They've done some great things at the beginning of this generation. And they didn't want, man, because that would have really hurt all of the momentum that they have right now. And I'm glad that they so quickly, because they would have waited a couple of weeks, maybe it wouldn't have meant as much, but because it was so quick, I think that proved that they really, knew that they messed up, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think a lot of people were just taken by surprise by this because, again, it's at the end of the week. It's a Friday. It came out of nowhere, really, and people are like, really, you guys are doing this when people are kind of like struggling financially because of the whole global situation going on right now, and you guys are choosing this time to do this. It didn't really, well, a lot of people just thought that it didn't really fit right, obviously, especially with Xbox being more of a I guess there's an image right now of a more consumer friendly Xbox where some of the executives are really dialed into the fans. So I guess it just caught a lot of people off guard with this announcement, and it just kind of spiraled out of control and into rage. And thankfully they listened, right?
100%. I have to say, shout out to the Xbox community. We totally went bananas, some more than others. They did this announcement on a Friday, and the old adage is you put bad news on a Friday because it's the last day of the week, last day of the press cycle, and that's when you do it. And they did, but it didn't work because basically Xbox fans and Sony guys obviously were having their fun with it, but prominent Xbox guys, whether it be Clobrel, Colt, the list goes on and on. Everyone pretty much on this podcast, Griggity, everyone. I didn't see many Xbox fans really trying to defend this, even though it was grandfathered in and some of the stuff they didn't really explain well or people didn't know. The Xbox community came out really strong, and we were heard. And from what I gather, this falls directly on Phil, obviously. But I don't know necessarily if this was something that Phil really, I think he sometimes delegates responsibility by, people and expects things to go a certain way by people doing their jobs. But I could tell you this much, that when this happens, Xbox, basically, from what I gathered from people within, were very frustrated with themselves. They said things like unforced mistakes and self-inflicted mistakes are extremely frustrating. And they were very aware of the response. They were upset, and they know that they got a good things going. And the last thing you need is bad optics, especially during a pandemic. And I think that's why they pushed the free to play announcement. I think that was in the works. But they pushed that out to just say, we hear you. And this is it was I'm just really happy that the community came out the way it did. And we know we have a voice, unlike anybody else in the gaming industry. We talk to executives. Everyone on this podcast has been heard. Everyone, they listen to our shows. They know who we are. And that's uncommon. And yeah, it was a tone deaf, stupid move. They acted fast though, and it definitely points out that we have a platform, whether it be Twitter or wherever, and it worked out. But they really kind of a crisis averted here, because you shouldn't be doing stuff like that, especially like Griggity said, with the momentum that they have and they're doing, and with all the great things that they're doing. It's like you're shooting yourself in the foot. Right. And again, I just can't. Proud of the Xbox community. We're the best, and it showed. We didn't stand for it. We didn't take it. There was absolute, pandemonium. You know what I mean? And I for one was surprised they pushed it back so fast. But they did the right thing, and I'm happy they did it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Would I be allowed to play devil's advocate?
I go right ahead, brother.
As we were saying earlier in the pre-show, it's technically my job to make sure that the company I work for makes a lot of money. And the question that I have to play devil's advocate, because yes, it was tone deaf. It wasn't rolled out right, in my opinion. But why is it not okay for them to raise the price over time on a product that actually has a premium quality to it compared to most of its competitors, a reliability, and ingenuity, basically pushing the envelope. Microsoft is experimenting with putting servers on the bottom of the ocean because it's cold enough down there to actually keep these things running at the temperature they need to. A lot of costs associated with running server farms is paying the AC bill. Some of these server rooms are on the scale of just industrial size refrigerators, because think of your Series X, but big enough to fit in a room, and then you put a lot of them in there. Imagine it gets hot in here running my consoles alone. I can only imagine what it takes to actually properly cool these machines. I look at it from the perspective of the price of it's inevitably going to go up, whether we want it to or not. Look at Netflix, look at any service at all. I understand what PC has, but I'm going to say right now, even PC's days of not paying for this and not paying for that are numbered. They don't get up at, the network engineers that go to work every single morning to maintain the systems that we use every day and I hang out with our friends. They're not waking up every single day going, God, I want to make sure Centurion can play Call of Duty with his buddies. No, they're getting up wanting a paycheck just like we do every single day. And they all need more money, just like all of us. And so I can understand and accept the fact that these subscription services, these systems that we love and enjoy and that we pay for, are inherently going to cost more over time, because that's regrettably just something that happens whether we like it or not. It was completely rolled out wrong. It shouldn't have been a double up on the price. They should have figured out a way to systemly gradually raise the price over time, over a number of years, that would be acceptable to them without doubling the price. And they also should have taken into account that we are technically in a pandemic. So was it the right time to roll out a price raise at all? But that's where I at least can accept the fact that Xbox does have the right to raise the price on these services.
Well, I understand what you're saying, and you make a lot of good points. But to me, listen, I think the overall idea of this was to basically kind of push you to Ultimate. They basically want everyone on the cloud.
Obviously, I will not to interrupt. I couldn't even see. I was like, "There's no value. Like you doubled the price. There's no value. Like what are you doing?" That was the one thing. I was like, "Wow, you technically created no value."
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. And then you have this great service in Xbox Ultimate where their end goal is to have everyone pay in the Netflix style $14.99 a month gig with no just like it just takes your card. That's the end, and that's why
I feel eventually we're gonna see most of my argument, I think, is more towards Game Pass. You know, like the amount of quality and stuff we're getting out of Game Pass. I mean, like it's beautiful, and it's only a matter of time before a price increase is going to be necessary to maintain it.
Right, but from what I've heard, they don't want to raise the prices of Ultimate. They want people pigeonholed into that, and this was just a very bad way of doing that.
Oh yeah,
and you look at their roadmap, and they want to basically be able to give you a game a month, pretty much, and that's going to solidify that $14.99 purchase, and everyone's happy and everyone's making money, and I think that's their end goal. But like you said, it is a premium product, and they just really went about it wrong. They didn't even explain how. They didn't understand the grandfathering either.
Can I say something right quick? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hey, let me say something right quick. I think it wasn't that they raised the prices. I think if it would have been a little $10 extra a year, or even $20 extra a year, most people, not everybody would have liked it, but it wouldn't have been.
Sony's been doing that.
Yeah. True. I mean, because Netflix go up, period. Yeah, exactly. But for them to double it, that was the biggest issue. Like, wow, you guys are doubling the price of it, and I think that's what really rubbed everybody the wrong way. They doubled it.
Now let's also play a little fun with it, also to kind of like poke fun at the other guys, Dirt and Tim Dog. Let's also technically, if we go off of console logic, Xbox has a very small install base compared to other install bases. How the hell does our little teeny install base achieve stuff like this? Meanwhile, you guys, thunderously applause. Yes, charge me for PSN. And then, here's your $70 games too. Oh, great. Yes, please give us more. Like, really? Come on. Apparently, we all know there's more of you than us. Why are we over here, getting things done, and you guys are just like putting your hands out? Come on, give us more.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they justify it because, excuse me, because they have the better first party games right now. So they say, we have games over here, so everything else is okay. But, I don't want to take too many shots. I'm sorry, guys.
It was funny, though, when it was announced, because I was just to myself, I'm like, you guys aren't going to stick with this. You could just tell from the amount of backlash they were getting. I'm like, this is just going to get rolled back. But it's just sad because it's like you roll it back. You do this and it's all self-inflicted, like you said. But just doing that, you just brings on so much bad PR. And some people it's just going to be like 2013 again. It's going to be months from now, and people are going to say, Live's like $120. People will still be misinformed because they printed cards even. So it wasn't like a conspiracy theory. They printed freaking cards and shipped them everywhere. So it was just
fast.
funny.
They did act very fast, and I think that you're right. That type of stuff can linger, but the way they acted and the way they handled it, it actually in a way kind of it kind of was like they avoided it, and it does look like they listened to the community, and we do have a voice. And I mean, I brought up the same thing about $70 games. Now listen, I don't mind $70 when it's a AAA game, but when you have a game like Returnal or Destruction All Stars, even though it's going into the plus and it's $70, yeah, and then you have on the Xbox side where you can get medium, day one in Game Pass. That does draw a little bit of reflection on that. And I mean, a lot of Sony guys are getting upset about that. But the fact is that, listen, they don't have the relationship with their community and their, Sony that we have with Xbox. Xbox listens to its fans, and, we're directly in contact with some of the executives, and, that's not to say that Xbox doesn't do stupid things, because this was very stupid.
I wonder if Jason Schreier will ever find out, like, really whose decision it was. That'd be interesting, because it just seems so out of left field to go from 60 to 120. It's as dumbfounding as when you heard about the Xbox One can't work without the Kinect plugged into it. It's almost worse than that. Like, how?
Yeah, and
how is
especially
this
when
120
free to
just
play
like that?
Especially when there's no free to play too. Like, you're gonna
release play Fortnite 120.
Yeah, so.
Well, yeah, that's actually a good comment there, Tim, because again, when they made this announcement at first, there was nothing added, right? There was no features or services added, just a straight up, the cost was going up.
Or like Xbox One games, you keep those too now, like the 360 or something. Like,
nope, yeah,
I thought they were gonna try to put some. I was just gonna say, I thought they were gonna try to put some watered down version of Game Pass or something to try to justify it, because we all know Game Pass Ultimate comes with the Game Pass Ultimate perks. It gives you added DLC. So I figured they were just going to try to somehow, push it just into some kind of like watered down version of Game Pass. I was completely mind blown. I was just like, here it is. This is just Xbox Live. I'm like, wow, no added value at all. That's probably not going to go over well.
And as soon as they made their apology, they announced that free-to-play games would be free, but coming in a few months. So I'm kind of wondering if, again, this is a fast reaction to the bad PR, but I'm kind of wondering if, again, they were saving this announcement for a couple of months from now, and then they realized, well, how can we, make this up and sweeten the reaction, right? So
yeah, Z Huge was saying it was like that part was in the works. It wasn't just like, oh, hey, we got it. Now them announcing it right there was probably because of this situation, but at least they hadn't already announced it, so they had something to say, like, hey, we're reversing it and we're doing this now.
Yeah, like we're sorry. Like, we're sorry. Here you go.
Especially, sorry to interrupt, but especially it was also a very bitter pill to swallow, because I think everyone on this podcast thought we were going to be losing the gold altogether for free. So it was like you went from now 60 to 120, and we thought it was going away. So it was definitely a crazy situation.
Did anybody see next month's games with gold?
Yeah.
Now, is it just me, but did it just seem like all of a sudden, like, I know it's not a great value jump. Hell, they're giving you Gears 5 again, but did it just seem like all of a sudden there was just a slight little value jump in the games? Is it just me, or
slightly?
Yeah, I mean, like,
it's just slightly better
like
than past months, really.
Well, they gave us 5 games, right? So a lot of people, because I didn't see anything, like any information about the jump in the game. So a lot of people are wondering, well, is this what they're going to be doing for gold going forward with 5 games now, or is it just like padding because of this announcement?
Well, for me, it was just the games. Some of the games actually caught my eye. I was like, "Oh,
Right.
I'll have to make a mental note to grab that one." Like I don't do that.
Yeah, they have Resident Evil, Dandora, Gears 5, Lost Planet 2, and there's an Indiana Jones game in there. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, for the most part, like some of these games, I was like, all right, that's pretty good. Resident Evil, Lost Planet 2, Gears 5, there's some good stuff here. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's one of the better months that we've had because
So I'm the only one that's going to be there like minute 1 for Dora.
well, it could be a good game. I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking it by any means.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
But just the standout titles that are there, of course, I'm gonna list them.
Oh, dude! Like, I think it's funny they talk about Indiana Jones. All of a sudden, an original Xbox One Indiana Jones game pops up. I was like, oh man, that's actually gonna be fun playing. Because I'm like, when was the last time you actually could think of an Indiana Jones game? I'm like, it was so long ago. He's like, hell, I'll play it right now just to say I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Let's see here. We have a $5 super chat from Dead Planet. Thank you very much, bud. If Xbox thought the backlash from Gold was bad, wait until they see the reaction to Bethesda games being multiplat. Can't rule them out. Can't rule out them being tone deaf. I mean,
I don't think there'll be any backlash from that, other than just like kind of like how the Rise of the Tomb Raider, like other than people just saying, oh, they hate exclusives. But it'll be hard to say that when you see all these timed exclusives from PlayStation, like because they've bombarded that, like people have been reporting. They have a lot of those on lockdown. So
two games from Bethesda too. So it's like if Bethesda wants
and
to
Final
play
Fantasy, so it's like they basically are doing the same thing. You don't hear a single article about how that's bad. That Final Fantasy is going to be a time exclusive, like Rise of the Tomb Raider was. So.
Mm-hmm.
And their first party, so it's like if anything they bought them. Hey, they're our first party. It's not like we're locking down. We're developing and investing in this company.
Also, speaking of exclusives, do you mind if I just ask one random question, Invader?
Yeah.
Is anybody checked out the? I need to still do it, but has anybody checked out the PS5 Resident Evil demo? Apparently, that's only on there.
No.
Not yet.
No.
I don't have my PS5 yet, so
I got a PS5, but I don't have it. I didn't download it yet.
Yeah, it's just like so. They're still doing stuff like that right now. The demo is exclusive to PS5. They're going to come out with another demo later on, but it's not going to be the same one. So that's even I don't see anybody getting up in arms over that. Heck, it's even going on under the radar. I didn't know until I watched the Resident Evil little showcase that they had showing the game.
It was a gorgeous tech demo of just like walking through like a haunted mansion.
Yeah, they said there's no combat. You're just walking through they want to show like the tech.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. No, actually, I did catch that. I watched it later on, and it looked pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like Shockshed said, it very much seems like a tech demo, but at the same time, it got me intrigued by the dialogue and just the environment and some of the characters that they showed off. So, yeah, I'm curious to see more of this game. Just to add on to this Xbox Live Gold controversy, I had heard, like, going through all the comments, because, again, there was a whole bunch of things being said. I had heard that this was, like, some kind of a 3D, 4D chess move by Microsoft to make them look, like, really good after, again, just, the first they put out some bad publicity, and then they come out swinging, being like, oh, hey, we're super consumer friendly. And I'm just like, no, it was just a bad move.
You could say that if they hadn't printed out all those cards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe then you're like, oh, maybe they did do that. I'm like, oh, they wouldn't have shipped and printed those cards that are, those are still going to be on shelves. Somebody's going to, like, not take them off, and people are still going to get confused. Wait, it's 6 months for $60. That's still going to confuse some consumers out there, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And let me say this right quick. I was proud, like Tim said, I was proud of the Xbox community, because there are some guys that I wasn't, those guys usually always, kind of say Xbox does no wrong, like in most of their thoughts and opinions. And some of those guys were even like, yo, this is wrong, Microsoft. And of course, there were still some blind fanboys that was like, I'm okay with it. But I saw, like the community as a whole, I'm going to say this, even though the PlayStation guys were making fun of the whole situation, those guys making fun of it, I know Xbox saw those things. I know they saw those things. And so I want to say the community as a whole, the Xbox fans, of course, it was more about us, saying that we didn't like it. I didn't like it. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous to double the annual price. And I will say that the community as a whole did contribute to Xbox, changing their plans on it.
Right. And again, guys, I don't want to gang up on Microsoft so much because they have done a lot of good learning from what they did from 2013. And it does seem like, I will say that media outlets are way more aggressive towards Xbox and Microsoft than towards other platforms.
I think you can voice your complaints about a business or anybody doing anything in a very respectable, professional manner without having to basically put F Xbox on your Twitter account.
Or fill with long nose or some type of crazy stuff that you see. But, Xbox definitely... they're in the predicament that they are in from prior mistakes, but the thing that annoys me is that they do have these tone deaf moments, and I think that they realize it internally. I think that the higher ups are very upset still. How it got triggered or how it got passed and hitting the wire like that, I don't know, but you can't have these type of things happen. You have to be able to understand the gamer. And somebody brought up the Bethesda deal. Listen, I think if some games are on PlayStation and they're whatever timed, I don't really have a problem with that, but we are on Xbox and we give our money for Xbox because we want them to make great games and, in a way to be exclusive to us as gamers. And it just doesn't make any sense for them to, put their games on PlayStation and act like, it doesn't matter or try to get money from Sony in that aspect. They have to, with that situation, they can't be tone deaf. They have to be smart about that. You have to, in a way, make Xbox fans feel good about owning an Xbox Series X. You can't, for lack of better words, hoard the system out. You have to have exclusivity, and it's going to be interesting to see if they have these tone deaf moments.
Well, just to kind of go with what you're saying, didn't you say that Microsoft was trying to pigeonhole people into Game Pass Ultimate?
100%. They want.
So what makes these Sony fans think that Microsoft isn't going to try to pigeonhole them into buying an Xbox or getting in the ecosystem the way they want them to?
Exactly. Or if they really want the games, put Xbox Game Pass on PlayStation.
Like that. That's what I'm just saying is like, no matter what, everybody who thinks that Microsoft is not going to follow some exclusivity route with Bethesda or ZeniMax and anything that they had, they just tried to pigeonhole their own fans into Game Pass Ultimate. Go ahead, sit down, consider that, because no matter what, you are going to consume any Bethesda related material in the way Microsoft wants you to.
Well said.
Definitely. And we've heard talks from who was it, Jim Ryan over at Sony, that they were so interested, or they are interested in doing some kind of a subscription service now. They walked that back majorly. So, I mean, obviously, I mean, they'll have their own plans for doing things. Hey, as far as Nintendo goes, I have no idea, but I wouldn't be surprised if Google or Amazon have similar things in the works. But Microsoft's really getting ahead of the game with Game Pass and Game Pass Ultimate. It's just a matter of transitioning their base, their player base, their online base from this old antiquated service that's been around since 2002 Xbox Live to this new standard of this game library subscription service. So it's still gonna take a little while, but you can see that they're trying to give this little nudge in the Game Pass direction to move people over. It just, this wasn't a good look, but I'm happy to see them learn from this mistake, and they reacted fast, guys. Most companies, most game divisions or divisions of companies do not react the way that Microsoft did. So props to Phil Spencer, props to Aaron Greenberg and a few of the other guys there. Good stuff all around. But all right, guys, we will move on to another bit of news. And multiple sources have been hinting at the past week or so that Xbox has quite a few unannounced exclusive games for 2021. A DICE developer made comments about it. Windows Central's Jez Corden knows of two, but doesn't want to spoil any surprises. And even reliable insider Clobriel has hinted at unannounced somethings. Tim, now, we know Xbox has a lot coming, whether it be with their internal studios or even the newer ones, the ZeniMax editions, the Bethesda editions. Mm-hmm. What franchises or studios do you think that we'll hear from later this year?
I'm thinking Wolfenstein 3 is going to be a game that comes out this year. And I do think there's a possibility that Starfield hits. Now, if you look at Bethesda and their history, they always release games within the year. So why would this year be any different? I think the Indiana Jones thing is way, in the future. Yeah, I think that you have those two possibilities. And if you look at, like I said, at Bethesda, they have, like with Fallout 5, they announced that in June and released November of that year. So they like to announce it when it's almost out of the oven. So when you look at that scenario, you have those two games. You also have the situation with Forza. I don't think Forza Motorsport's ready, but I do think there is a possibility that you could get a Horizon. Mm-hmm. It could be cross-gen. And then you have Hellblade 2, which has been a long time in development. Compulsion's been working on a game for a while. I heard that they recently showed it off to Phil, and Phil was very impressed. Mm-hmm. Psychonauts 2, we know about that one. But yes, like I told you, and I've said on my other podcasts, 2021 is what I'm told is a huge year for Xbox. This is the year that they want to attach the longtime subscribers, the ones who maxed out their Xbox Live and converted to Ultimate, and attach us to that $14.99 pay price, get us in the Netflix model. They're gonna probably hit us with announcements for this year, and they're also gonna hit us for future announcements. They are loaded, and I'm actually thinking that I kind of a little fearful that they might go too far, and when I say that, they might really do stuff that kind of puts them in a position where people are saying this is a monopoly, or they're changing the industry because they're getting so much possession of IPs and future games that are going to either be exclusive to their platform, that it could cause a problem. One of the reasons why I believe, and this goes where I know that this for a fact, they want to make it where, and Sony's not even in their headlights. They want to disenfranchise, or they want to discourage Google and Amazon to the point where they say they just can't compete. The Xbox is too far ahead. And yeah, this is the year. I expect it to be a big year. The next big thing is the February announcement of the Bethesda deal. Then we will get some clarity on exclusivity, and then they're going to probably roadmap the announcements for the unannounced games like this topic. I'm thinking we got two unannounced games. You're also going to have Halo, and I think you're going to have Wolfenstein 3 and possibly Starfield. And you're going to have Arc 2 possibly if that comes out, and another surprise. But in addition to that, you're going to get many announcements, or they might, who knows? I mean, they're at the point where they're scary, to the point where they're going all in. They are eyeing video gaming, and Satya is fully behind this. They got money, and they know that they kind of got Amazon on the ropes, and Google, because for the fact is that if those two don't compete, they own the cloud space for the time. Sony's not in the cloud space. They're planning to kind of get in there, but again, even when they do, they'll be way behind. So this is about this year is critical, as I'm told, and they're going to be guns a-blazing this whole year. So it's going to be a very interesting year.
I can't wait.
Definitely. Well, I wouldn't be surprised about Forza Horizon 5 for sure, like you're saying. Forza Motorsport is definitely still in the oven. They're going to be taking their time with that. Seems like a franchise reboot for them. Starfield is... I'm still on the fence with Starfield. I still think it could come out next year, but we'll definitely be hearing about it, I think, this year at whatever event they have in place of E3. And yeah, Compulsion is another studio that's been very quiet, and to me they've always been that dark horse pickup for Microsoft for their game studios, where ever since they bought them, they've been very quiet. They worked on DLC for We Happy Few, and you haven't heard very much, but they're going to be doing some very experimental things, I think. And yeah,
good to see Arcane hasn't made, other than like Deathloop, but I think that's from like a smaller team. So it's been a few years.
They have two teams over there. They got two teams.
Yeah, they got two Arcane studios, I believe. One in France.
Like, it's going to be a stark difference from this past gen to this next gen, when you just think of all those different talented studios that are going to be, eventually there's going to be a game after game, because they have so many studios coming out, or that they own.
No, and that's correct.
Game Pass is going to look like more than it already does look like a stupid deal. It's going to make a ridiculous deal.
Well, yeah, not only that. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I just wanted to say, we brought up Compulsion. I'll give you a little insight on that. I think I've mentioned it on the show too. They've been very quiet, but they've been very active in pushing that they want to be a bigger studio. They don't want to be a studio that's making filler games, and they pushed to grow. And they might have been annoying people doing that, because they didn't want to be the studio that's not getting all these hires that you're saying. And they said that they really pushed themselves, and they knew they're going to have a new studio location that's going to house up to 120 devs. And the good news is that when they showed Phil's game, when they showed Phil the game, I think Phil might have been annoyed, because they were pushing so hard to be bigger than what they were, and they wanted their voice to be heard. But when they showed their game, their voice was heard, and heard that he was very impressed with it. So that's another bit of good news, is that even these studios like Compulsion, they're organically growing, and they're looking to be big. They're not looking to be what people said that, Game Pass was going to be filled with. They didn't like that. They didn't like that they were kind of forgotten about. So, we've had them on the show. We had the head guy, I forgot his name, but they are a very creative studio, and like you said, a big dark horse. Watch out for them, because I think they're going to have some kind of crazy ass game coming, and we're going to be very happy.
I can't wait to see what they're working on, man.
Yeah. It's because they did Contrast and of course We Happy Few, so I could see them going for another deep narrative game. I would like to see something along the lines from them, like I don't want to say BioShock, but something along those lines, just because of the just because of the pedigree at the studio. I think a couple of them worked on BioShock, if I'm not mistaken, and yeah, I just find them. I'm very interested in that studio.
Is Ken Levine working on any games? Anybody knows that?
Yeah, he's working on something. Because he formed a new studio.
Yeah, it was on the Game Awards. I can't think of the name of it. Can anybody in the chat help us? What was the name of it? It was the two guys like in prison. It was a CGI trailer. I can't think of the name of it. Damn.
Yeah, it's not coming to me at the moment. Here, I'm just going to clean up some of these super chats. Dirk Griggity, thank you very much, buddy, for the $5 super chat. Hit the like button. Very wise words there from our buddy Dirt. Thanks, brother. Very cool, very cool. Oh, Infinite. We have a $19.99, basically $20 super chat here from Infinite. I wasn't at all outraged over the price increase, as it wouldn't have affected me. However, the barrier for entry for new players would have been an issue, something I didn't think about Friday night. Yeah, I could see what you're saying there, pal. Definitely a little bit of a barrier for people just coming into the ecosystem. Oh, and finally here, another $5 super chat from Dead Planet. Very appreciated, brother. I laugh when people claim games like Avowed, Perfect Dark, Fable, Hellblade are late 2023, 2024 games. There's no way those aren't all out by 2023. Yeah, there's a couple, for the most part, I'd say those ones will, well, some of those have been cooking for quite a while. I know, what is it, Playground Games, they've been working on Fable for at least a few years already, at least 3 or 4 years. Hellblade 2, it's, considering they already showed off a couple of things for that, I'd say it's pretty well into production. Perfect Dark, we've heard rumblings about that for a while, and well, I'm still not sure about Avowed. I would say it's coming along nicely there. All right. Oh, the game was A Way Out, but I'm not sure if that was Ken Levine. Now that I think about it.
No, I'm sorry, I got it mixed up. I believe the game I'm talking about is employee from Sledgehammer Games, not Ken Levine. I'm sorry, I still can't think of the game.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, sorry, the guy doing that like space horror game.
Yeah, I got it mixed up. I'm sorry about that.
Sorry, yeah, I forget the name off the top of my head, but it does look really interesting. And
yeah, it does.
Oh yeah, it's kind of weird too, because isn't it supposed to be based in I want to say
the PUBG universe or something?
Yeah, that really threw me off. I'm like, wait, what? That doesn't sound right.
I still can't think of the name, but I'm still trying to find the name of this game.
Keep working at it, guys, and somebody in the chat help them out. That'd be great. We'll transition into our next topic while we're at it. Onto something that we actually touched on a bit last week on last week's show. And very recently, Ninja Gaiden creator or director Tomonobu Itagaki has stated that he's returned to games with a brand new studio. Now, during an interview, he was asked if he would consider working with Microsoft again in the future. And Itagaki said he'd be honored to work with them again. And he states that, and I quote, I would start again with questions that I made to Seamus Blackley 2 decades ago. Back then I asked him, are you confident that you will beat the PS2? And he said, yes, Xbox is called Project Midway, and I'll gained supremacy with it. That's why I trusted him and actually created Xbox exclusive games for about 10 years. 20 years have passed since then, and I established my own company, Itagaki Games, which is not Tecmo or Valhalla. I know Microsoft is still aggressive, and if they reach out to me, it will be an honor for me. So, guys, after his comments, I've got quite a few questions, but I'm curious what obviously other panel members think here. Shockley, I know you had touched on this a bit last week, but what do you make of Itagaki's comments? Do you think that he's throwing out a lure to Xbox, hoping they listen, or, could they already be in discussion here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's throwing out a lure, because I think that just came out of the blue because the person that was interviewing him happened to ask that question. But yeah, I mean, I think he'd be a great fit. He was a big reason, or a big part of the OG Xbox. Like, it's kind of its look. It's, I don't know, it's kind of like swag, or, if you will, with the, Dead or Alive's franchise, as well as the Ninja Gaiden. So those like mature games that kind of, Xbox was built around when they first came in. So I think that would just be a great fit. Another, legend, in the gaming space under their belt, where they have the, the father of Resident Evil with Tango Gameworks. And then they would have Itagaki. Again, like I stated last week, he was 6 for 6 top quality games when he was actually had a, big publisher, as when he was in-house with Namco. The only time there was even mediocre, or if you would say like a bad game, was when he was, having to manage probably a studio on his own, you have to maybe cut some corners, or like, okay, I have to meet this deadline. I have to get this out. I have to pay my staff. I have to make sure the doors stay open too. So there might be some, things you have to cut. And some people really like that game, Devil's Third, just because it was kind of different what it was trying to do. But it may have been able to, really hit a better mark had that, had a full funding of Microsoft saying, hey, have the staff that you want. Money's not really, within reason, an object. So I think he would be just a great, I mean, if you just think about it, Dead or Alive that he created and then made a spinoff from one of those characters, revitalizing the Ninja Gaiden IP into what it was, into a game of the year, quality game with that first release. Second one was still solid. And then you saw the drop off with Team Ninja when they tried to go with Dead or Alive and Ninja Gaiden, and they plummeted. Like, as far as like in quality, you just saw a noticeable difference. But yeah, I think he'd be a great get. I think he has some, I'm sure he has a lot of pull and a lot of partnerships with people, say in like Japan. So he could, get a team together. Hey, I have the backing, I have the funding. I can get some of the people maybe that he was working with that, left Team Ninja, and really make a quality game. I would want him to make, not like, unless he has something crazy to go on it with I don't really need him to make a fighting game or like another action ninja game. I mean, I'd be all for it, but I would say whatever his creativity, leave him, up to that and see what he can make out of it. So not like say, hey, make us a, Ninja Gaiden clone or like a Neo clone or something like that. So that's where I stand on it. I think he's going to be a great pickup, and let his creativity go, because he's quality every time you give him the funding, he nails it. So
all right. Yeah, he does have a great relationship with Xbox. Obviously, in his statement, he's very open about the relationship that he had, and just he seems to really like their platform and where Microsoft was going even in the beginning. The one thing I would say though is his mystery studio. Back in 2017, he did announce that he had a a new studio already based in Rome after all this, after Devil's Third and whatnot, and the stuff with going on with Valhalla. And he was quiet, like he didn't really say much about anything. There was no info about a game, and again, now we're just hearing about a studio. So obviously he's been working on something, yeah, all this time, I would imagine. So I'm just very, I think the studio is actually called Itagaki Games from what he's stating. I tried looking some stuff up on my own, nothing really came up. So I find it very curious that he keeps stating that there's a studio, but there's no information on it. So I'm just kind of wondering if Xbox is funding like a secret Itagaki studio at this point.
Could be.
Could be. It could very well be. My conspiracy.
That's actually.
Go ahead.
That's not impossible considering Scorn put out that they had a quotation mark anonymous donator that all of a sudden funded their game from, basically an anonymous individual gave them all the money they needed to basically get Scorn going and out, and look at that, Scorn's all of a sudden on the Series X. Just saying.
That's right. Ooh, Tim Dog here, adding to the chat with the super chat of $5. Xbox Series X. Damn straight, brother. Xbox Series X.
That's right.
You gotta show some love.
I just one of the things I wanted to point out, even though it's not part of the topics, it was nice also that we got our first big multi-plat win with Hitman 3 for native 4K and tools. There's a lot of people joking around. Seem to be definitely improving, and I know that they had a big meeting recently, and they are moving forward, and I think that we will probably start seeing that trend to start up where Xbox kind of takes these multi-plats, especially in the future, and really notably when they start using stuff like VRS tier 2 and tier 1. When that stuff, you consider that they had a pretty big win with Hitman 3 and VRS wasn't even used, is to say something. I think that the beginning, the first month with these face-offs and them not performing as well. Like I said, we talk to these people on Xbox sometimes behind closed doors, and basically what I was told was they were a little behind, and it's good to see that they might even be a little more ahead of where where they have been, because from what I was told that there was the GDK gets updated, and it gets updated 2 times usually, one in the spring, one in the recently, I guess that they just got a GDK update, and so that's good to hear. I like I said, I think they were thinking that they were going to be behind for a little. And I was told to wait, but it was nice to see that they had such a big win. It was the biggest gap yet in multiplats. Native 4K, it had one drop or a couple of drops in very specific areas, and even Digital Foundry said it wasn't worth lowering the resolution because it's so small of an area, and so very 20 hours of playing the game and you have one spot where it drops a little is definitely commendable, considering that they were native 4K. Sony was 1800p, and they also had higher shadows, so higher quality shadows. So big win, and props to Xbox Series X for showing its power.
Definitely.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, I'll have to agree too with Dirt here as well. Because with these updated kits, updated tools, you're definitely seeing Xbox Series X start to outperform now. and with the more mature tools and just having the developers being able to spend more time on the game. So thankfully we're starting to see the fruits of all that. So yeah, man, that's a win. It's a win for Xbox for sure. Xbox Series X. Just to touch on Itagaki just for a little bit more, do you think he's I know I think Shockley had touched on this, but do you guys think he's a really good fit for Xbox Game Studios just because, or is he like a guy that needs more freedom for his work? Just because, like, I look at Kojima, right, and the stress and the fallout with who was it, Konami, and then I look at what Itagaki had, and there was a fallout with Tecmo. I think there was a lawsuit involved in there as well. It's very well documented. So I'm just kind of wondering, as much as I would like Itagaki to come to Xbox Game Studios, and he's definitely willing to work with them, do you guys think that he would cherish that independence more than possibly being a part of Xbox Game Studios?
Yeah, I would say probably. And if I was Xbox, I mean, maybe because he does have some controversy to him, that follows him a little bit. Maybe he is that type of guy that needs a filter, but I'm not sure if he fits, like you said, Xbox Game Studios. He's definitely a talented guy. Maybe Xbox would do something like, make a game and we'll see how it does. If it does great, then maybe we can bring you on board. But I will kind of play it by ear also, if you really be honest about it. Just my opinion. But he's definitely a talented guy with the games he made in the past. His style of game definitely fits in Xbox Game Studios, to be honest with you, because they have a variety of games and they want to have a lot of different games in Game Pass. And so he definitely fits as far as his game, the type of games that he's made in the past. But I don't know, maybe, we'll see what he, just do a first, like one game, see what's going on with it, see how it does. And then maybe Xbox will offer him something afterwards.
If anything, him and like Kojima would be right at home with Game Pass. I mean, look what they've taken shots on with Bleeding Edge and Honey, I Shrunk the Kid, survival game.
Oh, Grounded.
Like, there's no way those games. There's no way anything even Kojima creates with Death Stranding is going to be more out there than probably some of the just like who would have thought Honey the Shrunk. Or Honey the Kids, or whatever the name of that.
Grounded.
Stumbling over. Grounded. Yeah. I never played it, so I couldn't quite remember. But they'd be right at home to test your crazy Death Stranding. Everybody on Game Pass gets to try it. Then they probably would have tried it versus $60. This kind of looks, boring. But maybe I'll give it a try because it looks weird, and then people would have got into it more. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, for me, with Itagaki, I think I'm sorry if I butchered his name. I think he's working on a multi-plat, and I would be.
This is first PlayStation game he's ever made.
Yeah, I think though that with him, I think he just needs to land on his feet, kind of show that he's back. Back working and making game, and then look at him in an aspect. He always loved Xbox.
He always hated PlayStation. It was weird. He was like, "I'm making this game for Sega Saturn. It's not going to PlayStation."
Yeah. So for me though, I think he just needs to kind of get himself, get himself started and get himself back in there and learn the ropes. And he's definitely a talented guy. And listen, Ninja Gaiden, if they somehow, even if it's a multi-plat, I would really love to see a new next gen, crazy ray trace Ninja Gaiden. So I'm hopeful, but he's a really nice guy, and it's something to look at. Like I said, Xbox is pretty much actively looking to bolster Game Pass and looking for IPs and studios. So you never can throw it away. But like I said, for the meantime, I just think that he needs to kind of get himself back back in the back working and showing that he can make a game, because Devils 3 was interesting. It was a failure, but it was a decent game, and it had QT. It didn't have QTEs. I think that was one of the problems with a lot of people complained it wasn't fast action. But like I said, I would just love to see a hack and slash by him in the future once he gets himself situated. And again, he is a great person and great talent, and definitely somebody to keep your eye on.
Yeah, Tim, well spoken there. Like, either way, it's nice that to have a Japanese developer that is really into the Xbox platform and the ecosystem, and it's very encouraging, especially when you look at the way that Microsoft has been aggressive with trying to get studios. And again, a lot of Japanese developers have said on the side that Microsoft is actively looking for Japanese or Asian content. So, it's just something to keep an eye on. Until then, Itagaki's a very talented dev, and I hope his first game is. I hope that it's does well. I hope whenever he shows it off. So I'm looking forward to see what he has in store. All right, fellas, we will move on to some other bits of news. And this past week, Ninja Theory dropped a new developer update for Project Mara. The video showed off the apartment environment and the technology being utilized for the game. And so far, I'll admit, I'm impressed by the little glimpses that we've been seeing. It's eerie. It's especially with the photorealism that they're going for. And it's going to be a spooky game. So I'm very curious, especially, again, with the tech that's going into this. Centurion, what do you think of the game, how it's shaping up so far? What do you think of the technology behind this?
This game looks like trash. No, I'm playing. I couldn't even take that serious. No, man. Actually, now check this out. I actually went a little bit deeper on this, but that's just because I guess I'm whacked. So I wanted to kind of really know how they were doing this. I watched the video. I read the articles because, this looks absolutely amazing. So to put this into, I guess, like a little breakdown, they are digitally mapping an entire apartment that exists. And they are doing this by using LiDAR technology. LiDAR, if you don't know, is primarily used for mapping the Earth. It's used very heavily when it comes to like archaeology, because it's basically essentially beaming lasers down on the forest or whatever, and because of what lasers do, they can penetrate, and so they can digitally remove things, and you can actually see the ground with no foliage. And it's kind of interesting. I read an article that was all the way back in 2014 about how they're using video games in LiDAR, because consumers who would use LiDAR, like mining companies or anybody that would actually use LiDAR, wanted to be able to use it in real time. And they used video games because video games were able to produce the images in about 30 to 40 frames a second for somebody to actually use the information and go down and move through it and actually stream LiDAR. And that's where they kind of got the idea to reverse the idea and use LiDAR to create the game. And that's how they scanned this entire apartment into existence. And I guess it's so precise that they are going to literally have dust and particles on the floor, because that's where they got into. When you stare at a piece of wood, traditionally it's a flat surface in gaming, but when you get closer to it, you realize that there's actually three-dimensional texture to any surface. So that's where they're starting to map these textures in. And when I saw some of the images, I was completely mind blown. And the fact that they are going to have procedurally generated dust and particles on the floor. I'm completely shocked right now. A lot of people are trying to say this is going to be probably a demo. It is an experimental game. This is what they call an experimental game. This is going to be something that we can interact with. And this is not going to be something that is, showed with some flash or dash in a stream to show off some next gen engine. Because I do like the comparison that Project Mara is going to be something that a gamer can go in and actually see the future of at least Ninja Theory. This is like this. They said this is technology that they have crafted for themselves. Some of it was invented by their developers to be able to do this. And this is technology that they are going to use forward in all of their productions, according to the guy who's doing Project Mara.
Yeah. Just to add on to that too, they have a lot of ambitions for this technology, as you alluded to. I think I read about how Project Mara, they're doing so much experimental stuff with this game that they're essentially trying to create a new game genre in itself from the sounds of it.
Oh, dude, so here's the funny part. I really feel that they are really creating a good setup for a potential Paranormal Activity style game. A game where literally it takes place in one apartment. I made the comparison last night on the Shop podcast. I had the good fortune of actually being able to meet some of the producers at Fade to Black Films at the time of their height when they created the original Saw movie. And the one thing that the producers loved about Saw was that technically you are watching a movie where 3/4 of it technically takes place in one room with two guys chained to the walls on either side of the room. It's not a very big set. It's not a very huge production value when it comes to location, but the value you can put in there. And that's where I really see Ninja Theory. They're going to put a lot of value into this one little apartment. And when you're playing this game, if they go like a Paranormal Activity route, just imagine walking by and seeing a reflection on a counter of something that is there. And then you go to take a double take and it's gone. I mean, we know Ninja Theory likes to mess with your mind. So absolutely. And the thing is, because they're going to be doing dust particles and stuff like that, you could also make it feel like there's an apparition moving around the house that you can't physically see, but you know it's there. And I actually think this is probably going to be the future of VR.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's really scary if you think about that.
Well, yeah.
Oh, man.
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah. One of the things is that we talk about Xbox and how their studios are sharing technology, whether it be Forza Tech between Playground Studios and Turn 10, and this is going to be another thing that I think that they can push out not only for themselves, like Centurion says, it could be assets or other occasions, because they are definitely pushing for Xbox to the studios to work with each other and to share technology, and this is going to be a technology that I think that you might not only see in Project Mara, but you possibly could see it in other games, and that type of sharing and that type of cohesiveness between the studios is another thing that Xbox is trying to push the boundaries. So keep an eye out for this one. I think Hellblade 2 is going to set I think it's going to set a bar for graphics, and I cannot wait to see
either. Hey, can I say something about Project Mara? I think this game is going to be amazing. One, it might be short, it might be a short experience, but I'm gonna tell you guys something. I know this game takes place in one apartment, but PT was a demo from 2014, and that was in one hallway pretty much, and that was scary as hell. It was that was a scary demo. It was one hallway, one bathroom. It was scary. I'm just like, from the graphics, from the technology they're using for this game, or whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but the realism that this game, I mean, the sync, just that screenshot of the sync, one said real, one said in engine. That's going to be crazy if that game's going to look that realistic, and we're going to be in this one apartment and it's a horror game. Oh man, I can't wait for it, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. And I'm right there with you because I really like my horror games, my spooky games. I don't know if I turn the lights off for it, but honestly though, like just to set the mood, but it's the technology. Like, I mean, when you hear Centurion list off all these little things, when you talk about like the dust and the grime that they're adding in there, and then you just think about the photorealism that's going into the game, and you know, you think somebody's watching you and there's an apparition around or just whatever it may be. It kind of makes me wonder, okay, we're talking about visuals, what they're going to be doing with even sound as well, right? So
Right.
yeah.
Oh, right. You think about Hellblade, how the sound, man.
Yeah.
I think about that. I have to think about that. You're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Ninja Theory, they're a very experimental studio. They're a very talented studio, as we know. They over the past few years, they do things that they might not have the budget for, but they just do very unique and interesting things with the details in their games and what they have. Now that they're with Xbox Game Studios, I'm just excited to see what they can do with a full budget behind them and not having to worry about, again, any of the problems associated with dev costs. So the fact that they can put all their energy into just making good games, I'm stoked. Like, they can take their time with this. I mean, it does seem like a little bit of a pet project to them alongside, you know, obviously they're going full hardcore into Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga, which I am really excited for. I think they're going to actually, speaking of which, I don't know if anybody saw, but the girl that does the motion cap, I forget her name. Anyways, she
Melina Jurgens.
Yes, that's correct. She posted something, I believe. I can't remember if it was on like Twitter or Instagram, but
I saw it, yeah.
Yeah, she was decked out in the Senua makeup. So I don't know. I get the feeling that we may hear something from Ninja Theory and Hellblade 2 soon. So
Yeah.
but
Definitely, like they should definitely be showing some gameplay this year, because
Yeah.
I don't know if the game is coming next year, but they should be showing some gameplay definitely this year.
They've been
sometime
working
this
on
year.
it for a while, and they also have hired a pretty amount of people. I mean, when considering what they did with you know, basically 15 people
Right.
with Hellblade, you know, they had mentioned that they are looking. It is definitely a AAA scale. They are looking to do it. They have pretty much doubled. There's about 40 people working on it, but the thing about them is they use technology that's so sophisticated that you're getting AAA types of scale because of the technology that they're using. And yeah, experimental studio, I think somebody was saying, they're another one. It's just great to see. You know, Xbox has 23 studios, but they're so diversified when you talk about compulsion, you know, and the narrative that they could push, or you know, Ninja Theory, which, you know, they're doing types of stuff like this, you know, entering things like mental health and attaching it to video games, and really pushing limits. Hellblade 2, like I said, watch out for that one. I think that game could come out, wow us graphically, put it on a different level, be a 90 rated Metacritic, you know, awesome game that, once again, we Xbox gamers get game day one on Game Pass, which is just like just so fun to talk, just doing this podcast and all the things that we, you know, think about, and you know, wonder if this guy could come to Xbox Studios and all the stuff. It is such an exciting time for Xbox because of this type of stuff. They, you know, their studios, you could say what you want. They had a rough time, and you know, it's not 2018 anymore. People you can't say this type of stuff. They got 35 teams, you know, making video games. There's going to come a point where you're going to be inundated with video games, and they're going to be awesome. And they're going to be a ton of variety. Like this is not the same template game. Whether it be people call out Sony for having the same type of game. Whether they are great and they do a great job, but you got to give Xbox some kudos here. I mean, you're getting every type of game you can imagine. You're even getting RTSs, the Age of Empires, which I'm told is going to come to console as well. You're getting everything, and it's a testament to what Xbox's game studios is pushing, and the future is it's growing, and it's crazy to think what's going to come about. And like I said, this year. Watch this year. I think there's more announcements to come.
Yeah, I'm
Nice.
still blown away just by the Bethesda ZeniMax announcement back in September. I still can't believe they pulled that off. Oh man. I know a lot of people are keeping an eye on some kind of an investors call on either Monday or Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, and some people think there might be some news there. Maybe, guys. I saw some people in the chat mention that. I mean, I wouldn't hold
Did
my
anybody
breath.
think that when they announced this Xbox Live Gold going to 120 that was like possibly going to disrupt the ZeniMax deal since it's not inked yet?
No,
Just because you
what
saw
I-
like, hey, what
they
are they
want
doing? They're
to-
just going completely left field with playing online. Well,
Yeah.
us developers, we want to make online games, some of them.
Right. Well, I think the ballsy move shows that they possibly could be going all exclusive with these Bethesda games. But from what I've heard, they want to nail this deal down by February. And once that deal gets knocked out, the Bethesda and it's solidified, we will have a lot more clarity. And I do believe that that's the time when they really start pushing. Whether it's they're going to tell us they're going to have virtual shows. I don't think they'll be in E3. They're going to have they have a mandate that they will have no public type of get-togethers until August of 2021. So I think that E3, well, I heard E3 is done altogether, but for the future too. But I think that we possibly could have something in XO in 21, maybe in out in Gamescom around that time. But they're also going to have other shows, and they're going to have showcases, and we're going to learn a lot. Like I said, this year, I can't reiterate. They said this is the critical year. They want to solidify to all of us that you want to be embedded, and you want to be a part of Xbox Game Studios moving forward. And listen, if you're getting a game where you're getting the promise of a game every other month, and they're AAA and high quality, and they're Indiana Jones, and Starfields, and Elder Scrolls 6, and Halo, and yeah, you're saving money when it comes to it, when it comes down right to it, because you're only paying $15, and these games, even though they're $60, that all adds up. And when you're getting 10 games, let's say, and the value of that is $500, let's say, the ultimate pays for itself, and then some.
Oh, yeah, it totally does, Tim. Yeah, I can't argue against that. But yeah, guys, we will move on to our last topic of the evening now. And Fallout New Vegas 2 is something that's been requested by Fallout fans for a while now. In fact, I think I saw Pong Soul there in the chat kind of mention it. And it seems like it could very well be coming. Now, according to a very well-known Valve insider named Tyler McVicker, I think he also went by a few other names, he's known as being a reliable insider with like Valve stuff and a few other things. He teased some info that he got about some projects. And he states that he expects Fallout New Vegas 2 to release somewhere in the latter half of this decade, so like 2025 or 2030. I mean, I think that that's pretty far off, but hey, who knows what kind of plans are in store with Bethesda games. He went on further saying that Fallout 5 is way, way off, and that Elder Scrolls 6 is expected to, well, the ballpark is around 2026, 2027, and Starfield is slated for about a year from now, from what he understands. Now, guys, we'll take this all with a grain of salt, of course, but it is interesting that this has come up, and I'll keep this open to whoever wants to chime in on. But if there is a Fallout New Vegas 2, for example, in the works, do you guys think that Obsidian would be taking the reins on that IP again, especially now that Microsoft owns both the studio and the IP?
I think they will. I mean, if this is true, I think Obsidian, they will be the team to, because they already have multiple projects in the works, so I'm sure another one wouldn't hurt those guys. And plus, they did part 1, so I think it's only right for them to do part 2. Like you said, Microsoft owns Obsidian, Bethesda, and the IP. So yeah, I would think they would be the studio that would do it. Excuse me.
I mean, I think that would make a lot of sense. They're one with the history on that. I guess we got to look at what they have cooking up, right? Obsidian, they have Avowed. That's their next big game in the works, their next big RPG. They're working on, I think they got, The Outer Worlds DLC. They're still finishing up that, and they're more than likely working on The Outer Worlds 2. They have probably a prototyping team working on that on the side. I know that the studio has grown a lot in the last couple of years since Microsoft acquired them. I could see them having a team on the side. I know it was rumored that one of the guys who directed the original New Vegas game, I think he has a team working on something on the side. So I would say it is possible. It would just be a while off for a Fallout New Vegas game, but I know that it had quite the community involved in it. It was very, even though it had a ton of bugs, and I remember all the issues that came up with it, it had like a lot of fanfare to it. I've had guys come up to me about, Fallout New Vegas 2, it's fantastic. I keep replaying it. So there is that. But the only thing I find off here is Fallout 5, it seems pretty far off listed here, not like coming in the next decade. I don't know. I personally don't think that's realistic, especially for a big title like that. Fallout 5, I could see it coming out like maybe a year or two after the next Elder Scrolls game, but we still have really no information on that. It's just, I can't see Microsoft buying these IP and then just waiting to release them very slowly like that. I have a feeling that they have a ton of plans in mind for Fallout, for Elder Scrolls and all that, and I think they definitely want to build upon these titles. I mean, you guys in the chat, let me know what you think on that. Thomas P says Obsidian plans for a Fallout Los Angeles after New Vegas, if I recall correctly. Oh, that would be kind of interesting. I mean, Centurion, would be cool if you could have a Fallout Phoenix kind of game going on there.
Oh my god, dude. And the first thing they would do would just be like survival that game, and you'd be constantly thirsty, looking for sunblock.
Yeah, so it'd be kind of like Vegas.
Right, and kind of like Vegas, but man, I don't know, man. I sometimes wonder if it doesn't get as hot down there if it does like it does here, because we just have so much asphalt.
Oh yeah, very true. Yeah, Thomas says, they got Avowed, Grounded, Josh Sawyer Project, Brandon Adler Project, The Outer Worlds DLC, The Outer Worlds 2 pre-production. Yeah, they do seem a little full at the moment. It might be a ways off. I mean, I'm sure as much as a lot of fans would like a Fallout New Vegas 2, I don't know. I mean, Obsidian would be fantastic to helmet. Oh, what about this? What about In Exile? Would you give them a Fallout title like New Vegas? Because they're working on something. They're working on something pretty big.
Yeah, they're working on their own AAA, and I think that they're taking a big leap with that. So, like you said, they're kind of full at the moment. To the person in the chat that was, giving that info was very good. Kind of hard to say, but yeah, and as far as those dates go, I don't know. I don't think that's realistic, or he really knows. 2026. He's saying it's like 5 years. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not even talking pre. It's just crazy. But yeah, I think it's a great idea, but it'd be it's a little tough at the moment. But yeah, I think that they're definitely looking for studios to work with each other, like I said, so it is possible. I don't think it's on the plate right now. It's definitely something that could be considered, but it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on there, Tim. I mean, as much as, like, I think, again, they want to utilize these IP and they are coming. I mean, obviously, we know that Elder Scrolls 6 is on the way, but it will take a little while. It's a few years off. Starfield is definitely coming within a year or two, I would say. I think it's going to be exclusive, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. I know a lot of people are pumped for that. Yeah, as far as a new Fallout, mainline Fallout game, Fallout 5, I would say sooner rather than later. They're not waiting a bloody decade for that. I just thought it was an interesting thing that popped up recently. You guys in the chat definitely let me know what you think about when we'll get the next Fallout, possibly the next New Vegas title, or what kind of a spin-off you'd like to see. I think there's all kinds of room there to grow the IP, and I bet you Microsoft and Bethesda have a lot of plans for that. Okay, guys, I think on that note, we'll end things off on that topic, and we'll start closing things off. Well done show tonight, gentlemen. We covered the crazy news on Xbox Gold, the pricing reversal there. Hopefully they learned from their lesson on that. I know Phil and the team, they jumped on that quickly. Bravo, Phil. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Aaron, and all the guys there on leadership. I know it's not an easy thing to do. That's something that was more corporate, but we appreciate that you listened, and we appreciate that the free-to-play is also coming too and getting removed from the paywall, so bravo for that. And what else did we discuss? We discussed some game rumors, secret games, of course, unannounced games, Itagaki wanting to work with Xbox again, and a few other topics. Again, a really massive shout-out to all the viewers and commenters that turned up live in the chat, and I hope you all enjoyed tonight's show. Drop a like and share this out to show your support, guys. You were fantastic. Very lively chat tonight. Now let's get straight into the outros, and I'll start with our guest for the evening. Dirt, thank you for joining us tonight. We had a really great chat with you, and we appreciate your thoughts, your commentary. Really great stuff tonight, man. Where can all our viewers follow you at?
Well, first off, thank you for the invite, man. I had a great time, and check out Dirt Griggity, my YouTube channel. I have a podcast on Monday evenings at 6:30 Eastern time called We Bleed Green Xbox Podcast. Yeah, we're just a pro Xbox channel, and a pro Xbox podcast, and my channel is a pro Xbox channel. So if you're an Xbox fan, stop by, man, and listen to some videos, listen to some podcasts. If you like it, you think it's decent enough, go ahead and subscribe. But thanks again for the invite. I had a great time.
Yeah, of course, brother. And yeah, guys, definitely check out his content. He does videos on various gaming topics, especially Xbox topics, and the host of the We Bleed Green podcast, which happens each Monday evening. All right, moving on to the rest of the Emerald crew now. And Tim Dog, hey, buddy, great show tonight. Where can all of our followers find you at?
You can find me on xCloud, on Twitter, xCloud Tim Dog. Great show, Dirt, awesome. Definitely subscribe to his channel. It's awesome stuff. Great podcast, great person in general. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I also do RDX Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And great show. I've been playing Yakuza, and I'm definitely recommend it. I'm on the 4th chapter and having a great time. But good night, fellas. Great job. See you next week.
Yeah, that's right, Tim. Good stuff. I gotta jump into the Yakuza myself. I got Like a Dragon there on the backlog, so gotta fire that up soon. Centurion Pal, where can everybody follow you?
Oh man, thanks for another amazing show, gentlemen. It's been a really fun Sunday night, and it was good to definitely talk with you, Dirt, and also fun to do another show with you once again. For those interested, if you want to find me, you can find me at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Twitter, and Xbox Live. You can also find me right here every Sunday night on TXR. And I do the Shop podcast with Mr. PTK Blam and the rest of the amazing guys over there every Saturday night as well.
Another very good community show right there. Should definitely check them out if you got a free Saturday evening. And moving on down the list, Shockley Buddy. Really, really good commentary tonight, brother. Where can everybody follow you at?
Yeah, as always, you can find me at Shock Nero on Twitter, Easy Shock on Xbox Live or PSN. And let me know if you're ever trying to get into the retro gaming scene as far as just playing some of those old consoles and the best way to do it. Yeah, you can definitely hit me up for that info. But yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, Shockley's got some crazy videos going on with the retro gaming. Very insightful guy when it comes to that stuff. So definitely hit him up if you got some questions on all the classics. And of course, to close this off, I'm Invader Gaming, and you can find my content over on YouTube and BitChute at Invader Gaming. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you here next Sunday. Take it easy, everyone, and have a good night. Later.